Welcome to my addition to the tiny house village layout. As I stated in my first video, I'm known as Grandpa Sam, and I'll sneak in here 92 years young. I was raised during the Great Depression, living right beside the Union Pacific Railroad track in Grand Island, Nebraska. It was during the Depression, hard times, difficult to find work, but my grandfather had a good job working for the Union Pacific Railroad. During that time, I've established a lifelong love of trains. I don't care if they're large or if they're small, whether they're real or whether they're just models. Well, I started the tiny house village layout in a just small spot at the corner of my desk. Well, this was early on during the COVID health crisis, so I had time in my hand to experiment with a train layout. In my first video, we took a tour of section 1 of the train village. The village, I tried to demonstrate how you could have fun building an economical, perhaps non-traditional layout, reusing or repurposing some material you have right in your own house. Well, I thought I'd be content with my 28-inch layout, but the more I looked at my desk, I realized by moving some printers and some computers and taking away some workspace, I could add another almost 2 foot by 4 foot to my layout. So that gave me my first question: what would I want on that layout? Well, I decided my layout should include a little subdivision of housing, maybe some light industry, and perhaps a farm or cattle ranch. We'll see as we take our tour how successful I was. Well, the first thing I did is I went out and purchased some additional easy track, straight track, and another small train set. And this started my path on laying out section 2. I really enjoyed demonstrating how you can repurpose many different materials into your layout. I don't care what scale you have. So I hope you will find something useful during this tour of section 2 of the tiny village. So here we go. All aboard! We'll begin our tour of section 2, as we did in the first section, with a quick overview of the We'll wait till the trains pass. You see, I was able to incorporate a light industry across the back with a train station. We move on down and we had our little subdivision. We'll look at all these closer as we get into the tour. And we come over and we have our little ranch, cattle area. So I think we're able to incorporate all the things that I was hoping to incorporate into this section. As we continue our tour, the first kit I bought for this section was the train station. It was a little challenge to put together because it was the first one, but it went together nicely. And I see that we have a lot of people waiting for the train. Some even down at the taco shack getting a little snack as they wait for the train. But the problem is they're going to have a long wait because I haven't yet purchased a passenger car train. So that'll be one of my next steps. You'll see that by the taco shack, people sitting on an umbrella. The umbrella was made out of tin foil with toothpicks. So again, repurposed. We move on over then to the co-op I made the co-op out of toilet paper rolls, covered them with metal foil, wrinkled them up a little bit to replicate cement, and I think it turned out quite well. The next thing that I did purchase for this section was a National Oil Company, and that just added a nice little space there next to the train tower. That I purchased also. Next to that, the powerhouse, the chimney was made out of paper towel roll. And then we moved on down into Joe's wrecking yard. The fence was made out of screen wire with toothpicks. The ground cover in this area was coffee grounds. Now we move down a little closer to the subdivision. The fences again were made out of craft sticks and toothpicks. We had started with a little play area for the kids to enjoy, and even parents go down there. And we have the little houses. They are well designed, each have their own fences. They have good yards, flowers, and so forth. And they kind of make a barrier between the light industry and the railroad tracks. I think this little farm section was one of the most enjoyable for me to put together. You see chain link fence again, screen wire, toothpicks. We have the farm equipment, the diesel tank that was built out of 2 bottle caps glued together, put together with some scrap wood ahead. The little buildings were made out of wood, covered with metal foil and then distressed. Next to that, we come to the cattle ranch owner and his house, and he does have a beautiful rock garden yard, and with some people just kind of sitting around and enjoying it. Part of the stockyard is right next to his house. This is the loading chute, so where cattle cars can come down the track and load the cattle. And you see we have some there in the chute ready to get loaded on, just waiting for the train to come. Next to that, we have the ranch hand's house. And we notice the wife out there hanging up the laundry, and I even see a pair of his coveralls hanging on the line there. And that's close to some additional corrals that have some cattle and some pigs in it. Fortunately, the railroad track divides the house area from the farm area. So I'm excited about this whole little section of my train. I hope that you saw something useful here also. Just underneath the table on the section 2, you'll find that I have very, very simple controls. I have 2 Bachmann controllers for the trains. I have one switch for my little light that turns on the crossing guard. And you saw another little switch. And I'm excited about this. I looked a long time for a sound controller because with the DC trains and they do not have the sound in them, I always wanted little sounds. So this button provides that. So again, I was excited about seeing that. So we have pretty much completed going through my Section 2, in my closing remarks, I'll just indicate what I was able to reuse for this particular segment. Well, that's about it for now. You'll see behind me a little portion of Section 2 of my tiny house village layout. I think you'll be surprised when you discover how I found more room for another section of about 2 by 4 feet. But that's for next time. But before we leave this time, I'd like to just very quickly review the things I was able to reuse, repurpose, because that is my purpose in making these videos. I used the paper towel rolls, toilet paper rolls. I used coffee grounds, fennel seeds for cattle pens. I used metal foil and toothpicks for umbrellas. I used rubberized lids for totes, for roads, and bottle caps for fuel tanks. And I'm sure I've missed a few points, but it gives you an idea that if you look around your house, there may be just something you may use in your HO layout. And for now, I will close off. Thank you very much for watching. If you know someone that may be interested in watching, I'd appreciate if you let them know. And so now, well, all we can say is keep on railroading.